Your insiders, Chris Johnson, Pierre LeBrun, and Darren Drager. We're only a week away from an Olympic break, which comes with a trade freeze, which means we have less than 3 weeks of actual trade time before trade center. So let's check in on a couple of Canadian teams, starting in Winnipeg, 8 points out of a playoff spot entering play Tuesday. A lot of teams in between. So where are they at, Dregs?
Well, they're at a crossroads, to be fair, and directionally, it's still somewhat uncertain as to what the plan is for the Winnipeg Jets. Right now, their focus is on winning and not about what's being speculated around their team. They don't control the speculation. And is it a waste of time for General Manager Kevin Cheveldayoff to put out fires, spike speculation? What I can tell you is that if we're relating speculation to Seattle and Winnipeg, there's been no conversation between those two clubs about the potential availability of Shane Wright. Now, maybe that changes down the road. The focus for Winnipeg is on winning. But if they have to shift into a sell mode, then I would look at somebody like big defenseman Logan Stanley. He's an unrestricted free agent, end of the year. There has been no contract extension dialogue between Stanley, the Jets, and the agent involved. So he could be a piece that betters their position in the draft, but it's too early.
Yeah, meantime, Montreal Dregs, the Habs have slid down the standings just a bit in the ultra-competitive Atlantic Division. They're still in a wild card spot. And certainly, listen, they've already traded for Phil Deneau this year, and I don't think management feels the pressure that they have to make another big swing here before the March 6th trade deadline. I do think they'll make a deal, but the point is that they haven't lost the bigger picture when it comes to them just really opening their window this year and keeping in mind they're the youngest team in the league. You know, Ken Hughes, the GM of the Habs, was on the podcast of Arpin Basu and Marc-Antoine Godin on Friday, and he used the word prudent, quote unquote, to describe his approach to the trade deadline. So to me, that means they're not going to mortgage the future for a short-term fix this year for the deadline. They are open still to hockey trades, and they've been creative, and they'll continue to look at that venue, if possible, for a top 6 upgrade.
Let's take an Olympic break like the NHL will do. We'll get back to the trade talk in a second. But Brayden Point's availability for Team Canada, what's the latest, CJ?
Well, it didn't look too good when he went down with that injury in Philadelphia earlier in the month. But what I can tell you since then is the news has gotten at least a little bit more encouraging. And at this point in time, it is fully Brayden Point's intention to get himself back healthy, get himself ready to play for Team Canada at Milan. That's the way that the management group is looking at it and hoping for things. Now, there's only a week and a half until the players fly over there, so he's going to have to continue to make progress, perhaps even get into a game for the Tampa Bay Lightning. But at this point in time, we're not talking about an injury replacement. We're talking about Brayden Point getting healthy in time to play for Canada.
Let's check in on a couple of teams who haven't been real shoppers in a while in the playoff race. And Detroit's one of those neck and neck with Tampa in the tight Atlantic Division race. And full shopping mode, Dregs?
I would say so, yes, but it depends on what you're talking about here. They're not looking for rental pieces. They are looking for specific ads, though. And look, Detroit has been a patient team, and the patience is paying off. They're a very good team, and Steve Yzerman is hoping to make this team that much better between now and March 6th. They are looking for a number 2 center, again, a player with term, and preferably a right-shot defenseman, again, with term. And when you look at what Detroit might be willing to part with, have a look at their draft list. They've got a number of juicy picks that could be in play.
Islanders, meanwhile, third in the Metro, already made one deal for Soucy and perhaps more coming, Pierre?
Yeah, they're not done if they have their way. The Islanders, who, you know, have surprised some by sitting in a playoff spot. Well, they want to make the playoffs, and the reason for that is they feel it'd be a great experience for a lot of the younger players. You think of young star rookie Matthew Schaefer. So the playoffs matter, and so they didn't just acquire Carson Soucy because they wanted to replace Alexander Romanov, who's gone 5 to 6 months, but they also wanted to tell their team, hey, we see what you're doing here, and we want to reward you. They'd like to add a piece up front, improve their offense a little, and if they really can, add that piece before next Wednesday's deadline, if possible, as opposed to wait till March 6th.
Well, and 2 other teams that are in position to make the playoffs and would love to make the playoffs are the Pittsburgh Penguins and Utah Mammoth. But I'm not sure that we can label either of these teams a true buyer. We like to keep it simple, buyer versus seller, but I don't think it's simple for either side. You know, on the Penguins end of things, I do believe they're still out there shopping, but they're shopping in the same aisle they've been doing. So Kyle Dubas still looking for young players, but not necessarily pivoting his approach after seeing his team go through Western Canada with a perfect record, putting itself in a good playoff spot. As for Utah, they've been patiently building up acquiring draft picks, bringing prospects into their roster. But the biggest player they're looking to add to their lineup here is Logan Cooley, who's getting closer and closer to return from injury.
Two of the best stories in the NHL this season. Insider Trading.